The changelings are already here. You can find my latest book, Hey Stranger, A Changeling Chronicle, available now on Amazon in paperback and ebook format.
Captain, incoming message.
It was the dawn of the third age of mankind.
Groovy.
Hi-ho. This is me, Kermit the Frog.
Hello there.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Not a great plan.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Program complete. Enter when ready.
Let's see what's out there. Engage.
Hey there, we're those sci-fi guys, and this is that Those Sci-Fi Guys show. Just two working dudes, different lives, different jobs, but a whole lot of love for science fiction and the fun that comes with. We are your hosts, Cy and P.S. McKay, filled with more bugs than Buggy McBuggerson fixing the bugs out of Windows Bugs 95. Buggery.
No, not that one.
Mm-hmm. It just kind of rolled off the tongue that way.
Oh. I'm DT Calfman, and we might need to start over.
No, we're going. We're in it now, man. We're in it now. We're 35 minutes late, but we're in it now. Oh, God. I can't express how irritating this transition into StreamYard is. It's the darndest thing. I don't know why. Should be a lot easier than what we're dealing with. I don't even have a microphone, folks. Apparently, my microphone has decided that it doesn't want to work with any of my equipment anymore. So there's that. So my golden tones sound super tin rusty. It's because of the Realtek microphone in my laptop.
Wow. Reminds me of when we got started, and that was me.
Yeah, and I would calmly walk you through it. I don't have the same patience for myself. Anyway, DT, we're back. We had a little break. Our last episode aired a little bit later than we typically do. I apologize. That was my fault. But yeah, we're back from our breaks. How's it going? Fresh off of Easter Sunday?
Yes.
That well, huh? Okay, very good.
It was it was really nice. We went over to my folks. My grandmother was down. That was awesome.
Oh, nice.
She's 99.
Oh, God bless her.
Yeah. So it's always great to see her. So the age range went from 3 to 99.
That is a 96-year difference right there.
Yeah, there were 4 generations in the house fully enjoying it. So it was nice.
That's only one World War, though. So, and it's not the first one. So there's that.
Here's something to think of. All the houses in that particular neighborhood hosted their families.
No way, really?
All 4.
Dude, okay.
So
there must have been some kind of like melding of every family again at some point.
Yeah. I mean, the weather was gorgeous all weekend. It was 75 on the mainland, Massachusetts.
You never get that any Easter in New England. Yeah,
you do, but then it's like 45 like the next day. That's the way April goes. But yesterday was mid 60s. It was really nice. It was sunny. We we were out. The kids went out, played with the neighbors' kids, grandkids. People walking up, saying hello, hugs. The extended family was there. So in addition to all the blood relatives, um, all the extended family were there. So it was good. There was a game of dodgeball. There was pickleball. There was kids running everywhere. It was like you stopped by one house, you went to the next, and it was nice. It was just the neighborhood was just filled with kids yelling and running around, and
Mayberry all over again.
yeah. Um,
One of those
I get
slices of Americana that we took for granted growing up.
well, we didn't get it's not like the whole caveman family got together per se, but it was the extended family, which was nice. Hadn't seen a lot of them in a while, maybe through the holidays, through schools, whatnot, but not everybody lives around here. Some people, live a little. I mean, everybody's within driving distance,
Yeah.
within about an hour and a half, but there's still a handful of people who take a little bit of a drive to get here. It's not like it's right around the corner like me or some of the others.
No. By the way, I forgot to tell you, Broham Gaming is part of that same pool club now.
No, I know. We talked today.
Oh, you did? You did? Really?
Well, I saw the note on his Facebook page, so I sent
yeah.
a note
Yeah.
checking in.
Yeah, it's been an interesting weekend for him.
Well, yeah, of course. But I wanted to, I happened to see it. That's the benefits of social media, and I saw it, so I reached out. I'm like, hey, how's everything going? And he's like, oh, wow, thank you for reaching out. And he also reiterated, well, we'll see you this summer, and at some point, I should just reach out and see, if he's got a night available. We'll go grab a beer or something. Just, I literally haven't seen him since he moved back. Everybody else has run into him at some point.
Yeah.
We podcast. We're right down the street, so it's stupid of me not to.
I know it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing, but you know what? It is what it is. I mean, life is weird that way.
It is, but I did want to reach out since I happened to catch it, and anytime I've had our extended family reach out when things aren't going right, it just makes it better.
And not to be too cryptic, everyone, just minor condition his son had, very common. They had to have some quick intervention. He's fine. Everything's fine. Just it's one of those things in life where you just have to deal with it, and you got to prognose it, and it's just so. But he's fine. Full recovery. Should be heading home tomorrow. As long as everything else looks good. So, yeah. I had a pretty good Easter. We spent most of the first week. We spent all last week in LA. My son flew out to Houston for the robotics competition finals, the world championships. And his robot was a top 25% performing robot, which was, I mean, in the world. We're talking like pretty wild. They didn't make it to the finals, but they had a heck of a time. They played really well. And most of all, my 14-year-old teenager got to be able to experience life on his own in a different state completely. And, I always recommend that when you're a young teenager, you need to have those trips, just like those, be it school or something else. Like that's where you learn who you are. That's just how you grow. And it's probably the best way, the safest way to do it. Because you're surrounded by structure and whatnot, but you have so much autonomy already.
Yeah, I feel you, man. We've got our little ones actually got a couple of those coming up between school and scouts and whatnot. So, she's got the annual school trip that happens at this particular year.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I didn't go on that. I should have, but I didn't. Well, when he got out
I
of the
get it, and you know
airport,
what I mean.
oh, I do. I do. It's funny though, like he was only gone for like 5 or 6 days from us, but when he came back and he walked out of that airport while I was in the car, I didn't recognize him. Like it was pretty wild.
Seems so grown up.
Yeah, he was like a young man, like just and to top it off, my wife, daughter, and my in-laws and I went to Disneyland, and we did California Adventure and then Disneyland proper and everything. And I talked about that previously, but now we actually did it. So I had this weird moment where I'm seeing all of these young parents, the parents with like the 2-year-old and the 4-year-olds, and I'm looking at them and I'm realizing, oh, I'm beyond that stage now. Like we're not doing that. we're in a whole different level of parenting than that. And I kind of got a little nostalgic, a little bit. Just,
Well, because you
for,
were that age. You were the young parent.
Yeah.
You guys did the young parent things, and to be honest with you, sometimes we're still doing what we would normally you'd call young parent things. Like my kid still likes going to the zoo. So
Hell
we'll
yeah.
go to the zoo.
Hell yeah. You've got time to make up for. Like
I do.
I mean, not that's not like a guilt trip or anything like that.
No.
I'm just you're seizing the moments, and that's a really great opportunity for you that I'm really happy you can do.
Well, we that's what my kid wanted to do for her birthday was go to the zoo. I mean,
I love it. I love it.
We went to the zoo, like when she was turning 5, and we went to the zoo when she was turning 10. So it's just kind of a thing. During COVID, we hit almost every zoo in the Midwest, mostly because they were open.
Yeah.
It was outdoors, and it was, you could, unless you got within close proximity, you could kind of take down your mask in places. So we went to the Louisville Zoo. I mean, we lived in Ohio, so we did the Columbus Zoo. We lived right outside Columbus, so we went to the Columbus Zoo a lot when we were there. And then we went to the Cincinnati Zoo, which is a fantastic zoo. We did the Cleveland Zoo. We did the Louisville Zoo. We did a small aquarium in Newport, Kentucky, which is literally just right across the river from Cincinnati. You can look out a window and see Cincinnati just across the river because that's how close it was. And we went to this weird little place down in, southern Kentucky that was literally that was called Kentucky Down Under. There was you could walk in, there was kangaroos just hopping around. You could walk up and pet kangaroos. Yeah, so we did that sort of stuff, and every place we lived, we went to the zoo. When we were down in the DC area, we went to the National Zoo, the Baltimore Zoo. We went to the National Aquarium. It was cool. So that's kind of what we do. But I've got a teenager now, and some people would think of that as young parent stuff you take the little kid to, like. You wouldn't know that that's what the teenager picked for her birthday, not the 3-year-old whose birthday was 10 days before. I mean, he came to the zoo with us, but that's what the kid that's what my kid wanted to do. So,
Well,
that's a great thing to do when we talk about young parents, old parents. I literally had this conversation with members of our old neighborhood standing around in the cul-de-sac yesterday. Because some of them have kids.
I know that cul-de-sac so well.
Well, there's a few of them who have young kids, And they're like, yeah, we're the older parents
Yeah.
right now. I mean, our kids are the same age as everybody around us, but they're all like 10 years younger than we are. I'm like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Me and Mrs. Kathman were kind of because in the military, right? If we had stayed, if we were living where we are now, I mean, a lot of our friends ended up having kids, late 20s, early 30s. But like in the Army, everybody had kids like it. You had
Yeah.
19-year-old privates with like one baby and a kid on the way. I mean, that's just kind of how the things went there. So we were older parents considering, like, our daughter, like so many of my peers were married at like 23, 25 and had kids already. And I didn't even meet Mrs. Kathman until I was like 26. So, it's like,
would you say that out of the old neighborhood, are we on the upper age bracket of our children being older, or like out of all us neighborhood kids, our generation, are you and I parents of some of the older echelon children of our generation that had kids?
well,
Does that make sense?
The top kind of came off the neighborhood though. Like a couple of people who were a year or two older than us don't have kids. So, the next tier, and like the guy who lived behind me, he married into older kids, so I mean, that
Yeah.
kind of skews the numbers a little bit, but we're kind of in the middle. I mean, I think we ended up starting to have kids, like at least you and I, because your son, I think, he's in high
Yeah.
school.
Yeah, he's in high school. He's a freshman
Right.
in high school.
Okay. Yeah. So he's a year older than my kid, right?
Mhm.
But he's the same age
Almost
as
exactly, yeah.
he's the same age as one or two other kids, from our neighborhood group, and you have others who waited a little, and then of course we all have the younger siblings who have the younger kids,
Yeah.
So I mean,
So we're in the middle like we always were.
we're towards the upper echelon, I would say, though, because we are technically among the older group now.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's just
really,
interesting. We're all the same age, basically, but we're at so many different stages in life just because of that.
Well,
just because of that.
Remember when we were all hanging out as kids, it was a bigger difference in, a year or two. When you're 12 to 4, a difference between a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old can be astronomical.
Yes.
And a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old. So, I mean, we had a pretty wide age group, everywhere from, people, kids being born while some people were getting ready for, 8th grade kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
yes,
we had a wide enough age group. What I would say is that we are,
Matt, sorry about that.
like your oldest, my only, are among the older of our immediate neighborhood group, I would say.
Okay.
There's really not any older, actually, when you think about it. Well, it blurs with some of my other friends from the hometown that have older kids,
Right.
per se. There's one or two who actually has an older kid, and your brother's friend has older stepkid, and older son,
yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, now we're getting very esoteric. So, but yeah.
But still, I mean, that's family.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you say, it's family.
Absolutely. Well, yeah,
So
and
your
then
trip.
Sunday we had a great Easter. My son got back at 2:30 in the afternoon on Easter, so he woke up on a major holiday without his family, which is interesting. But yeah, we got them.
I've done it. It's weird.
It is weird. So yeah, so we did that, and then we did a late egg hunt, and baskets and whatnot. We had a good time. It
I
was
saw
great.
the pictures. They look nice.
Oh yeah, my wife does that. It's funny because she doesn't put me in a lot of those pictures, so I always worry if people see them, they're like, Patrick's not it. Damn it. Mack's not
Who
in
is
it.
that guy you're talking about?
I don't know. Now we're gonna have to figure that one out. No, he's not in it. I hope everything's okay with their marriage and blah blah blah. Because there'll be people thinking that no matter what. So, just gonna time that one at 20 minutes and whatnot. See if we can figure that one out. Yes, but the trip. So we went to LA. We were supposed to go to Universal Studios. We stayed at the hotel there, but I put together a little bit of a slideshow if you're okay. It'll be quick-ish.
Well, the stuff you sent me kind of blew my mind. I mean,
yeah, it's pretty wild. I think
not so much that I was shocked or surprised, just that it was cool.
Yeah. So we saw the Harry Potter play Sunday afternoon in LA at the Pantages Theater, and this was what you see here is the set before the play, the first act starts and everything. And I always thought this was cute. That's a hanging.
So what is this? This was a Harry Potter play?
Yeah. So think of it as book 8. And it takes place, well, you don't know, but think of it as book 8 instead of book 7.
Is this the one that's wasn't this a stage show? Like it's supposed to take place like now, like Harry Potter and Company or Parents or something like that?
Yes, all of that.
So it's Harry Potter, the Next Generation?
Literally, yes. Literally. It was alluded to. You got to make the Star Trek reference, I know. It was alluded to at the end of book 7. When everything was, it had been 19 years and everything was fine, or something like that. Anyway, it takes place from there.
I mean, that happens.
Great
a lot.
play. It's fun. For some reason, this was originally 2 plays. The first act was 1 play. The second act was the second play. And I took my wife to see this play in San Francisco on March 7th of 2020. So,
fromage.
I know, but it was literally a 3-hour first play and a 3-hour second play.
What is this,
and then
Wicked?
It was pretty crazy. Yeah, and so I'm watching. They consolidated it.
Oh, so it's like the inverse of whatever the last Harry Potter movie was, where they stretched the last book into 2 movies.
Yeah, they pushed them all. They smushed them all together. And I cannot.
Don't you know? Never go full Peter Jackson.
Well, man, that's what they were figuring out. So I can't figure out for the life of me what they cut from the original stage plays to get it consolidated into one singular play, but they did it. It didn't seem as if it didn't make less sense to me. And some Harry Potter fans hate this play. Others really like it. I found it amusing, and also the technical achievements for this. They actually had wands that spewed fire, and the special effects
those are called flamethrowers. Okay, they had them back really in the 40s. Harry Potter, the flamethrower. The kids will love it.
The technical achievements of this play were very good.
A great Spaceballs reference.
Oh, the kids will love it. Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize.
That's one of the best gags in the entire movie.
Yeah, that's true. Kids will love it. So
very hard in the background. There's like one that's clearly like a Transformers coloring book that they just slapped Spaceballs on top of.
Yeah, I missed it. I'm sorry.
Well, once you've watched the movie about 8 times, you start looking for things that maybe you would have missed, the background jokes that Mel was always famous for.
Here, let me just rip myself here.
Harder, Geordie. He's a member of your team.
I'll try harder next time. So, yeah.
Do or do not. There is no try. Hold the
I don't
lines.
have I don't have do or do not. There is no try. I need to get that. Shoot. You know what? I think I have the Mallrats version. Where they're quoting it in the Mallrats movie. But that's a whole other thing.
Skywalker, missed you where I did.
Yeah. That's from Last Jedi. We don't talk about that movie.
That's the only part of the one I would really acknowledge.
I
Because
know,
it
right?
was Frank Oz. It was a real puppet.
I know.
He was as cheeky as he was in Empire Strikes Back.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I thoroughly enjoyed that scene. The Last Jedi could be a terrible movie, but have good parts in it.
Yes. Page turners, they were not.
Yeah. I mean, that was
Sassy Yoda is always the best Yoda.
I agree. And I wish we had more of him in the prequels, because I feel like that was his default setting. Like, he liked to be a joker.
One of the very first episodes of the Clone Wars was Yoda is going to a diplomatic mission, and they get ambushed by separatists, and it's him and like 3 clones trying to avoid a separatist army trying to reach these.
Yes, I remember that episode.
It was it was one of the first episodes to truly show clones with separate personalities, and Yoda kind of taking stock of that. And then he was also very impish in how he dealt with Ventress and company. It was even with the blocky first season animation, it was still a very solid plot, and it was Yoda at his most Yoda.
Interesting. Yeah, I liked that episode a lot. It was good. So we got a lot ahead of us. So I'm gonna just plow forward if you don't mind. That we were on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The Hollywood Boulevard convinced my son that he never wants to live in Los Angeles, and I can understand that. So that's Giancarlo Esposito's Star. I sent you that when I was there, and
yes, you did.
Here's Leonard Nimoy's, which I couldn't get to Shatner. He was all the way over. Yeah. He was all the way over closer to the Chinese theater. We weren't going to go all the way over there.
You couldn't fight through the Shat Pack. I got you.
And by the way, the smell of weed was just nauseating. There were by at least.
I guarantee you that's what Boston smelled like a good chunk of this weekend.
And when I was in Boston, like 2014, there was like this big weed convention out on Boston Common that day. And that was in 2014. Like, that was still when it was illegal. And now it's all legal. And I can only imagine. Boston's become one
like
hot
your
town.
Opinion, man.
Yeah. Oh, I am interested in seeing the Cheech and Chong's final movie. Or last movie. Just, because it's a swan song, Musso and Frank Grill, we had dinner here after the play. Fun fact, we saw Jeff Goldblum here the last time we were there for brunch back in March of 2020. I'm sorry, December of 2019. And literally, I was 5 feet away from Jeff Goldblum. We made eye contact. I'm sure it looked like
breakfast, right?
Yeah. And I'm sure I made a reaction that he recognized that I recognized him. And then I just turned my back and walked away as fast as I could. Because that's just, I don't want to bother him. He was there with his family. And I don't want these people to know that they have a power over me. So there's that. Great restaurant, though. Classic on Hollywood Boulevard. It is a historical landmark. If you're ever out in LA, book Musso and Frank's Grill. Just like all the waiters wear red jackets and they're very proper and everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. SNL. This is over at Universal. Just SNL celebrating. Okay, so speaking of Harry Potter, these are actual costumes worn by Daniel Radcliffe and Rupert Grint, the guy who played Ron. And you can see there. So that was fun. It's always neat to see the costumes. So this is me on the Warner Brothers tour. They're just prepping us to what the WB and the CW did. These are Jack Warner's actual handwritings and his phone book here.
I saw that. That was awesome.
pretty cool. This is a listing of what's on each stage. So Night Court down at the bottom right there. Abbott Elementary, all over.
Some good shows.
Yeah, very good shows. Jennifer Hudson had like multiple sets. Was really shocked about that. This is Phoebe's guitar from Friends, the actual one that played Smelly Cat. So I thought that was neat. That's right there. It's in the waiting room for our tour. And this is JR's hat and boots from Dallas.
From Dallas?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was pretty cool.
Classic.
Yeah. They actually used this in the revival from 2011 too.
Yeah.
So this is for the first show and then the revival later. So and that's me with my pass, my
very nice.
Tour Plus pass or whatever it was. So I'm in the waiting room there. Okay, so this is on the Warner Brothers set. This is are you familiar with True Blood?
I'm familiar. I've seen a couple episodes.
You know the restaurant
bar
that Snooki works at? Yeah, this is Merlotte's bar right here. And it's everything else. It's in everything. I'm just shocked that it's
you
right
watch
there.
it. You watch enough TV, you'll go, oh, I recognize this spot.
Yeah.
It's like the back lot that like NCIS shoots all their street scenes on. I'm like, oh, if they redressed this a little bit, this was Bones and this was some other procedural.
All of that.
This isn't like that. This is why like some of the shows like Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, Blue Bloods, why these shows get so damn expensive is because they shoot on location in the major cities. NCIS has been shooting on the same backlot in the same Southern California valley that's supposed to be Afghanistan as it was Korea when they were shooting there in MASH.
Right. This is Southern California right here. This could easily pass as, Louisiana, Southern swamp area and whatnot. It just is, put some of that hanging moss on the trees and everything easily.
Yeah.
So sorry for the pause there. But I thought that was interesting. It's been in everything. This right here, you see this road?
Yeah.
Merlotte's is behind me in this.
Briscoe shot on this road.
This is the road that the T-Rex ran and chased Jeff Goldblum on in the Jeep in Jurassic Park.
I'm pretty sure this also was where they filmed some of Briscoe.
Yeah, I'm positive they did too. Yes. Our tour guide Rebecca was fantastic. You'll see her in a couple pictures, but she was extremely knowledgeable. Briscoe probably a little outside of her homework.
Well, so it's also esoteric too.
Yeah. But this is the T-Rex running after the Jeep when it first comes out of the foliage and everything as they're trying to get away. Okay, so here is the lake that they use on a lot of scenes and everything. Do you have Apple TV Plus?
I do not.
Okay. Seth Rogen has a new TV show called The Studio, where he's basically put in charge of a movie studio. The very first scene of that TV show takes place on this lot, and it's filled with water. Here, it's not filled with water, but there's a shack to the left of this woman here, the back of this woman's head. There's a shack to the left, and it's in everything. But I'm shocked I didn't get a photo of the shack. But they're able to fill this pool up in 10 hours. They can keep it heated to 87 degrees for long shoots, and to keep the actors warm and everything. But Seth Rogen, they literally show this action sequence of people jumping out of a window at this place. The camera swoops around. It's one big one-er shot, so there's no cuts. And then you see Seth Rogen standing right here where this cart is. And then he starts talking to the director. Then he jumps into his own car, and they drive off that part of the set onto the rest of the studio sets and everything. It's a really cool shot. And we were right there. It's neat. So I recommend The Studio. I've only seen the first 2 episodes. They're fantastic.
Sure.
So
That sounds interesting.
it's really fun and it's hilarious. It is hilarious. You don't get a lot of good comedies right now because they don't know what is funny anymore. So this is genuinely
That's
funny.
kind of why I've been enjoying classic the Night Court reboot, because it is the same kind of inane, zany comedy that we grew up on.
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
the random people that go through Night Court,
And
including some from that came back.
Yeah, like Brent Spiner.
Oh my God, the
So and
last
he's
episode he
just
was
doing it
on,
for fun.
I was watching it while on the treadmill. I almost fell off laughing. That's how hard he
You were
made me
laughing that
laugh.
hard, huh?
Oh
Good.
God, it was it was ridiculous.
Nice. I just wanted to point out this is
Perry Mason.
no. Yeah, that's the shot that's what's her name's house? Who plays Perry Mason? Wait, no, she plays Matlock now. Never mind. Promotion. This is a fake house, but promotion for Night Court. Can you read that line right there? That sign.
Season 3 is now in session, but I don't remember them going to a house so far in season 3.
Yeah, well, we'll see. This is New York. This is the set of New York, basically. The scene in
familiar.
Friends where Phoebe talks to the homeless woman and she wants to give money that she found because she didn't earn it. She wants to give it to the homeless woman. That takes place in this little store doorway here, this blue doorway. All the fire escapes are genuine. They were picked from a dump in New York, and they were installed here. You could see Chandler when he's pining after Joey's girlfriend. He's standing in the far corner down on the left, and he's looking to the right where she is, and he's running towards her. This is New York. This basically is New York and whatnot, which is fun. This is Abbott Elementary.
Okay.
Did you see the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia crossover that they did?
1, I never watched Sunny, and 2, I never watched Abbott Elementary.
Oh. All right,
but I did see that they crossed over.
They did. They crossed over, and so they aired the Abbott Elementary side with them in it. Sunny's season is going to start in June, and they're going to share their side of what happened in an episode, which I'm excited for.
It's
but
wild
in
that
one
that show's
scene,
still on too.
Oh, I love it. It's so good. It hits many more times than it misses. Trust me. But there's a scene where Frank, Danny DeVito, is in a cage, and he's in the far area in the back right over here. There's like a little corner. You can see that like featured prominently there. I'm sitting here like Danny DeVito was literally in a wire cage, just dressed as a raccoon. So
fair enough.
This is the entrance to Abbott Elementary. Okay, so this is the Daily Planet from the Adventures of Lois and Clark. And this is our illustrious tour guide, Rebecca, to the right here.
Wow, that set is still up?
It's a practical set. It's used for a ton of stuff. They use it for a lot of times for restaurant scenes and whatnot. Sure. But this was the Daily Planet from Lois and Clark. And I'll show you the outside. That's the outside right there. So that's the fake subway entrance that you can see right here on the Daily Planet. So, but that's that corner thing right there. Pretty wild. Warner Brothers water tower, everybody. I will say this is a real working movie theater on the left here. Literally 2 days later, after I took this shot, my buddy that I was from LA back in the day, my buddy was here celebrating Superman Day, and they screened the 1978 movie Superman there, and he brought his sons there and everything. Yeah, it's great. So I thought that was fun. Another shot of Abbott Elementary. Danny DeVito was in the right-hand corner here behind the fence, but yeah, so that's why I got that photo. If you're a Gilmore Girls fan, this is the back side of one of the houses. This is actually the front of Lorelai Gilmore's house. If you're interested,
Okay.
this is the court house for Argo. When you see Argo, Ben Affleck sitting on the steps with what's his name, Alan Arkin.
Alan Arkin.
Yeah, on the bottom left here. Great set piece. I think it's a gorgeous set piece. And then you can see this is where the Big Bang Theory was filmed on stage 25. 2.5 Men stage.
So they just do they
26.
just put like placards up for these stages for famous shows that were shot on them?
Yeah, for shows that lasted a long time, have made a cultural impact and whatnot. And they show here, this is what they also do. So stage 26 not just shows 2.5 Men, but it shows a lot of the other features that were filmed here.
The Waltons?
Yeah. Yeah, on stage 26. Pretty wild, right? But yeah, so that's cool. And this is the prop warehouse. Dude, anyone has access to this. You can order, even as a civilian, you can order any and all of the props that are on here. You have to self-insure it, but you can order any of it. This is the West Wing. The West Wing set pieces. Yep. You could rent these. You could literally rent these.
They got Frederick Remington sculptures.
Yep. And then all the chandelier pieces that they can use. Treasure from
Pirates?
Goonies.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And this is from Captain Blood. Was it from Captain Blood?
Seahawk.
No, Seahawk. Yeah. Okay. So, sorry. Goonies used that globe in the background right there. And then this is the seat that Errol Flynn sat in for Seahawk. So pretty wild. I mean, that's just like history right there. It's insane. Now, where was the? Sorry. Oh, I'm going ahead of myself.
Central
Didn't
Park.
I show a wolf? Oh, I didn't put it in here. So that's stage 10. That's the night court set, by the way. I couldn't take any photos inside, but we got to sit where the studio audience gets to sit, and it was a weird flashback, man. Like that set brought me back to being 5 years old. And hearing that theme song, I just heard it in my head thinking, oh, it's time for bed. Like, like when you hear Mack. Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. So, yeah. So stage 10 right there. They're off for the season. But that was really cool to be able to see. And I apologize if you know me, I'm a rule follower. If I think a rule is tedious, I will break it. This, I respected their house rules because, you kind of have to respect the house rules. You're a guest.
Don't be that guy.
Exactly. Here's the parking spots for Dan and Abby. This is literally where they park every day. So that's them. That's their
cool,
spots.
Man.
Yeah. And then after the tour, we were given lunch. And so they recreated the Central Perk facade here. And then Selena, I don't know what's been happening. Selena has just been coming up in the zeitgeist lately. I made a reference to Selena for the first time in like 20 years, and she's just been popping up everywhere. I don't know why. I really don't. Anyway.
I wonder if it's an anniversary.
Could be. Very well could be. But I thought it was so weird that this movie that was almost 30 years ago is so prominently featured with these costumes.
Maybe it was 30 years ago.
And it came out in 97.
Maybe she was killed in... Was she killed in 95?
She was, actually. You're absolutely correct. Because I remember her single Dreamin'.
Boom.
Yeah, that explains it all. Her single Dreaming came out in 1995.
I have seen a statue of her. I think it was in Corpus Christi.
Yeah, she was Texan.
Yes, I know. She's Tejano. But
well,
yeah. But I
I
believe
don't
there's
think
a
anyone would
statue of
deny
her
that
in
she was
Corpus.
Texan.
Yeah, but Corpus Christi, I think there's a statue of her. I think we went by it when we were visiting.
Nice. Well, okay. Well, there we go. More of Selena in the zeitgeist.
Yes, that was many, many moons ago, but it was still cool.
Very much so. The bat cowl from Batman Returns, worn by Michael Keaton, official.
Yeah.
So thought you'd like that. And this is some drawing stuff showing proportions for the Iron Giant. You know, Hogarth over here and whatnot. That's all behind glass. This is the script for the pilot of. It says 6 of 1, but that's the pilot Friends.
Friends.
Yep.
Well, I saw
they had different
Marta
versions.
Kaufman. So
yeah, here's another one. And this is the recreated Central Perk set. So they took all the sets and they put it over here for photo opportunities and whatnot. Batmobile from Batman Begins. So that's cool. And then Christopher Reeve's Superman outfit from, I believe, Superman 4. The Quest for Peace.
the worst of the movies.
Can you read that? I can't read it. Does that say Superman 3 or 4?
Looks like 3.
Okay, it might be 3. The second worst of all the movies. So,
yeah.
Oh, and this is the entrance to the Grand California Hotel that we stayed at in Disneyland. Beautiful. And then I sent you this picture, the Boba Fett. I'm sorry, not the Boba Fett, the Mandalorian helmet. Yeah, I was this close to buying it. I was this close, and I couldn't justify the expense. I'm a dad. You know, that money can go towards a lot of other more important things. So,
Well,
but it looks gorgeous, doesn't it?
It does. Trust me, man. Otherwise, I would have come back from like Fan Expo or Rhode Island Comic Con with a $500 lightsaber,
right?
With like a custom handle.
I seriously considered doing the whole lightsaber thing too, where you pay like $250 to put together your own lightsaber, and it's like heavy duty, like, you know, really good, well construction. You can use it as hard as you want and everything, but yeah, again, I'm a dad. Those resources could be spent elsewhere more efficiently. So, let me see here.
Well, my friend. You know, you walk by some of these things and you're like,
yeah. So that is the end of the slideshow. I didn't take any. I took some pictures at Disneyland, but we don't need to see all those. But yeah, so that's the Warner Brothers tour. I was completely flummoxed with the prop, the prop house, and just all the things. The family that we toured with, they were such a cute family. They were huge fans of the movie Norbit, but with Eddie Murphy.
That's a random one. That wasn't one
I
of the
know.
better ones.
They grew up on it, so I mean, they were young. They're you know, late teens, early 20s, and but there were a lot of scenes shot on the Warner Brothers lot where Norbit was filmed, and so they were like, "Oh, can we go to the place where they did the dance scene, the dance room scene?" They're like, "Yeah, sure, let's go do it." And so we just walked across the whole lot and went into the practical set that was the dance scene, which also played, you know, doubled as the sheriff's. Oh, it doubled as the sheriff's station for the Young Sheldon spinoff, Georgie and
Mandy's first marriage or whatever.
Mandy's first. Yeah, it doubled as the sheriff's office for that. So yeah, so that was my Warner Brothers tour. Bit of a cinephile fan, and so seeing that kind of stuff, really, it's fun, but it also reminds me of how crappy it is to work in Hollywood. But it's so cool. Warner Brothers, they have their own fabrication department, which they should, right? They have their own signage department. They can make their own signs. They can print their own floors. I will say, I think Warner Brothers, out of all the studios, Warner Brothers is probably the most skilled when it comes to being able to make the picture.
Really?
I think so. I think they have the most resources. I think they use those resources efficiently.
Okay.
Seth Rogen chose Warner Brothers to film the studio on because he recognized how much the studio treats how well the studio treats the idea of making a film, and how well they keep their sets in order, and how they keep all their props guarded and everything. So it's he recognized that too. I was blown away. I've done a couple studio tours, Universal Studios. We thought about doing Disney Studios, but there's really not much to see there. Warner Brothers was impressive, very impressive.
Well, I mean, are there still the backlot tours at like Hollywood Studios for Disney?
Well, there
I
are
don't
no
think-
backlot tours in Disneyland.
No,
But yes,
like
in Florida, they have those things. Yes.
yeah. I mean, we didn't do a backlot tour when we went 6 years ago, so you know.
Yeah. I saw a lot of prop stuff. We did the backlot tour in 1998 when we went to Florida, and I mean that was cool. It was neat. Not the same though. I know that in the 90s they tried to make Florida a central hub for filming. Like Nickelodeon really pushed for its Florida campus, and
Well, they did. I mean, they filmed a bunch of things down there, the Buena Vista TV shows.
yeah, that's true.
Golden
I don't
Girls
think that they
filmed,
have
I
much
think, down
anymore.
there.
They did. Yeah, the Golden Girls house was there on the backlot tour.
And maybe it was the exterior. I don't know if they actually filmed in Florida, but all the exteriors were Miami and Florida stuff.
Yeah, no, that's true. So, I don't know. I mean, I was impressed with Warner Brothers. I'm not going to throw shade on the others. I've done the Universal backlot tour a few times, and that's very impressive too. That's where Back to the Future was shot. The clock tower and everything. The funny part is there's a lot of stuff on the Warner Brothers set that is confused for the Universal set. And what's also interesting, I know, right? What's also interesting is Warner Brothers has this quote unquote open set policy, which means that they allow other studios to film there, obviously for a fee. They make money off of that, but they allow other studios to film there to use their resources and whatnot. And I find that nice. It's such a cutthroat industry as Hollywood. The fact that they have an open set policy to allow rival studios to film there and use their resources.
Well, I'm sure they charge them.
Oh yeah, no, it's a business decision, but it's nice to see a good business decision be also a little altruistic. Not a lot, but a little bit.
Not that altruistic if they're charging.
I know
them.
it's money. I know it's a money exchange.
If you said, "Hey, Sony, you can come film on our lots because we care and we want to see you succeed and not cut into our profits."
They did film the first Spider-Man movie on those lots too. I didn't include the picture, but I took a picture of the alley where Tobey Maguire was hanging upside down, apparently for like 4 hours, being waterboarded essentially, with the falling rain and everything.
Oh, that in the original?
Yeah. They apparently had to like put cotton swabs up his nose, and so when Mary Jane pulls down his mask, she doesn't pull it past his top lip in that scene because they don't want to show the cotton swabs in the nose. And then they had to refilm his dialogue because he sounded all like this when he was talking to her during filming. Because that happens.
Yeah, in the rain probably wasn't great to do.
No. So, but it's good stuff. So that was my week. There was also something else happening, which did you? I forgot that it was even occurring. To be honest with you,
No, I didn't go to Japan.
Were you following what was happening in Japan? I found it very weird that they
Yeah,
chose Japan for Star
I
Wars
know.
Celebration.
It kept popping up on my social media feeds, and the search engines kept popping up answers. But yeah, Star Wars Celebration hit this past week and weekend in Japan, and it dropped a bunch of huge bombs for Star Wars. A lot of great appearances. Hayden Christensen was like the hit of it.
And I'm so happy to see that, by the way.
Yeah.
Are you? I just.
Me too. Me too. I mean, his acting was a little stilted, particularly in certain spots, but it was, I think, as much the dialogue as
It was
anything.
the script. It was the script. I mean,
And the script
take it from a former actor.
Mm.
Everything is in the script. Like it,
Oh, I know. So, but a lot of the dialogue was bad. Like Natalie Portman's an Oscar winner. Ewan McGregor's a legend. All these legends in there are like
Ewan
saying some of
McGregor.
this stunted dialogue.
Oh, no. I was thinking of Liam Neeson going, "Patience, my blue friend." How do you say that? Like, "Patience, my blue friend." Like, to Watto. Like, I mean, good Lord.
Well, anyway, he was there with Rosario Dawson, and they go back like literally like 30 years.
Really?
They've known each other since they were kids. Yeah, if you
Really?
watch the video, she'll tell it. They went to acting school together. He was like blown away by her because he had seen her in this movie she was at when she was a kid, and they acted in a movie or two together when they were younger, and so they've been friends forever, and so they've got this great relationship. And so Hayden is coming back for Ahsoka season 2, which means we're probably getting I think we're either going to get more either World Between Worlds, or you may see Force Ghost, Anakin Skywalker, something for Ahsoka. So he's coming back. There's rumors that there might be Ewan McGregor or Padme, but that's all rumors. What Dave Filoni did spill was that all the cast members of Rebels will return.
And there's going to be a lot more Chopper, apparently.
Yes, a lot more Chopper, because apparently everybody wanted more Chopper. That was, and he's like, I heard you, and there's going to be a lot more Chopper, and he's going to be doing a lot more atrocious things. And everyone's like, yay, he's a war criminal, yay.
Let's be honest. Everyone wanted more from Ahsoka, the series, anyway. So
yeah, they basically officially confirmed everything with Rory McCann taking over as Balin Skoll for the late departed Ray Stevenson, who was fantastic in that role. I wanted to know more about him, and I was like, well, what the hell are they going to do now? And some people had fan casted Liev Schreiber as an option, who I think could have pulled it off, but Rory McCann definitely looks like he's a guy who could bring that unbridled power, that strength that Balin Skoll had.
Yeah,
he was.
No argument there. Agreed.
And besides which, he's the Hound. Only his face won't be all jacked up for.
Yeah.
So it's great, but yeah, Hera, Ezra, Zeb, Chopper, Sabine, Ahsoka—they're all going to be back for this, so that's great. They bubble wrapped Anthony Daniels to protect him. He came out on stage in a gold sport coat.
Yeah, gold sport coat, and yeah.
I guess it was Hayden Christensen's birthday, so they kept singing happy birthday to him, and he's got this big smile on his face the whole time. And we knew Ahsoka 2, season 2 was coming out. They did drop a bomb. Admiral Akbar is going to be facing off against Grand Admiral Thrawn in a pretty sizable space battle. In this,
so we know Akbar is not going to die.
Akbar supposedly dies in whatever it was, The Last Jedi.
Yeah. Off screen, by the way.
Yes. Apparently they gave him a little scene in this one of the comic books where it cuts to them and he's like, "It's been an honor serving with you," and then they all get blown into space kind of shit. Lame. It was very lame, and screw you, Ryan Johnson, for that.
I mean,
You lay off my Akbar.
He and Kathleen Kennedy got along famously. Like, there was zero friction between those two during the production of The Last Jedi, which, what does that tell you? What does that say? Anyway, that's another discussion for another time.
Anyway, so there's that. And yes, they did say, and it kind of shows that this and maybe Grogu and Mandalorian or Mandalorian Grogu might all kind of give you a little bit of that combination of heir to the Empire stuff, because Akbar facing off of Thrawn was what happened as part of one of the climactic battles in the original Thrawn trilogy from the 90s. So I'm curious to see how that goes.
Oh, okay.
So,
from the Zahn books, huh?
Yeah, the original ones.
Remember,
the Wrath of Zahn.
Remember, Thrawn can only be as intelligent as his writer. So
true.
And so can Akbar. So hopefully they have someone smart doing it. Like Timothy Zahn, maybe.
Yeah, he would be great.
Throw
Although
that guy some shekels.
I think Filoni did a pretty good job with him in Rebels. I think they need to tie a little bit more back into that. Now, granted, this is a difference. This is a Thrawn who's been stranded away from home for 10 years. So there is something to be said for that. But I'd still like to see a little bit more of that, cunning and everything. But we'll see. We'll see where this goes. And I'm looking forward to it. Big surprise. Now, this they also... Did you see the poster of the 20 years of animation? I
did not. Do you have that? Are you able to share it?
Google, hit the Google machine, my man. It's the Lucasfilm Animation 20th anniversary, and it's like a picture of like all the major characters from all the animated series. It's a nice one. So,
all right, hold on.
Yes. There's also big animated news too.
So it's going to take a moment. Working on it. Keep going.
So, in addition, they announced...
Is it like really jumbled and crazy?
Kind of, but it's still neat.
Like all the characters?
Yeah, like if it gets blown up, you can see them very clearly. And a lot of websites have been doing little screenshots of various ones to show, but the whole thing looks really nice.
Okay. I think I found it. I'm just trying to find a good copy of it real fast.
Sure. But this animation ties very tightly into a surprise drop that they gave us. Sam Witwer is back as Darth Maul in his own series, Maul Shadow Lord. It's going to be an animated series. It's probably going to tie between the end of... No, it's going to tie in between the end. I believe it's supposed to tie in between the end of Clone Wars Season 7 and then maybe you'll at least up through, I would assume Solo, where we see Maul, and then he disappears. Something happens that causes his empire to fall, and then he ends up searching the galaxy, and that's where he comes across with Ezra, and how he tries to recruit Ezra, and he ends up with his final confrontation with Kenobi, all in Rebels. So this is supposed to cover some of the interim. Yeah, see, and as you can see, the Zero is actually a clone helmet, and it almost looks like the 2 is like a BB-8 almost.
Oh yeah, look at that. That's interesting. Here, zoom in. Oh dang!
Oh,
Look at that.
you got a good copy. You've got the Bendu, you've got Palpatine, you've got
Oh, Pad.
you've
No,
got
that's
the
not Padme.
no, that's Duchess Satine.
Yeah. Look at that.
Yeah, Wrecker and Omega with Anakin and Padme. You've got the weird animation style from whatever Star Wars Resistance. You have the original clone trooper right in the middle with Ahsoka right behind him. That's Gunji, the Jedi, the Wookiee Jedi. Plo Koon, which you knew Dave Filoni was going to try to have front and center.
Mm-hmm.
You have Morai, the convor that followed Ahsoka, Cad Bane, Jabba the Hutt, Grievous, Zeb
Oh.
with his arm around Callus and Hunter.
That's crazy. Oh, there's Cad Bane. Okay, and there's
Cad
there's
Bane.
Sabine.
The Grand Inquisitor, and right behind Cad Bane, and next to him or behind him, there's Forrest Whitaker. That's
Yeah.
Saw
Yeah.
Gerrera,
Yeah.
Bib
All that.
Fortuna, the Slavers, a Rancor,
Techno Union or whatever.
the Techno Union. There's I think that's Jesse. You've got the Bendu. You've got the Loth Wolves. It's awesome. This is awesome. This is a really good picture.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, there's Leia right there.
There's Leia. Yep. And the atrocious
Oh, yeah.
General or Admiral Trench, the giant spider. Ugh.
Oh, I noticed that. Yeah. So we'll zoom out. I'll remove that. But yeah, that's good. That's a good one.
Yeah. Well, you got Filoni, who says
Save
he's
that
going to
image.
make an appearance in Ahsoka wearing his cowboy hat somewhere. He said he's going to be in there. So,
Well, why the hell not? Right?
you know what? I trust him enough to if he realized that he listened where people said we want more Chopper. I think Dave listened. It makes sense that he listened. These characters mean a lot to him, especially Ahsoka. And he was right on the ground floor. And there was a neat little like 10-minute video or like 5 to 10-minute video that talked basically about the foundation of Lucasfilm animation.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a big deal to him, to Filoni, to carry on this legacy that George gave him. And so I think, and I'm not going to put all my eggs in this basket, but I think Ahsoka season 2 will be better.
Fingers crossed, man. I mean, I wanted to like Ahsoka. There were really good parts, and I convinced myself there were some good parts too.
So
I hope they learn. I really do.
I hope they do too, my friend. I really do.
Yeah, I hate being such a negative person in the world. But you know, it's easy to be burned, and you can only be burned so many times now, where it's just like, is this going to move the needle for me? Like everything you've described 10 years ago, I would have been super excited about. Like, but right now,
and
I'm just not feeling the excitement for anything. I mean, everything I'm hearing, I'm like, yeah, that seems like a good idea. Yeah, I think you should do that too. But I'm not like yearning for it. And it's not just Star Wars. It's just
get it.
The combined process of everything being ruined over the course of the last 5 to 8 years, you know.
But here's the
Hollywood
thing.
hates its fans.
Here's at least here's what overwhelming my feed. It's the Filoni, Favreau, and the animated and the Ahsoka stuff. That's what's hitting me. This Lucasfilm is announcing Sean Levy's upcoming movie Star Wars Starfighter starring Ryan Gosling. Ryan Gosling did make an appearance. I'm curious, but I don't know. It's going to set a few years after the rise of Skywalker. Okay.
This is how jaded I am about that. All I could think of was, oh, they just stole Patty Jenkinson's project and put a man in it.
Apparently, and there's rumors that Rogue Squadron's still on, but I'm going. There's a list of some of the big news. Hayden Christensen.
Go.
Hayden Christensen's returning in season 2. Admiral Akbar, Zeb, Return of the Mortis Gods, new Baylan Skoll, and then there will be a showdown between Ahsoka and Baylan. That's according to Dave Filoni, Rosario Dawson, and Hayden Christensen, all from their various interviews. Darth Maul animated TV show announced. Star Wars announced Maul Shadow Lord, return of Sam Witwer, Maul's role as the leader of the crime syndicate during the Imperial era, the introduction of a Darth Side apprentice who may or may not be Talon. Oh, goody, Darth Talon. She was supposed to be one of the main villains in when Lucas was originally planning his version of the sequel trilogy. Maul was supposed to be the main villain, and he was supposed to have a Twi'lek Sith apprentice, Darth Talon, or Talon.
Oh, her. Okay. Is it wrong for me to say that's hot?
Well, they brought a Darth Talon into the Legacy comic book series, and who was, I read those.
So it's wrong. Okay, noted. I got you. So what are we know they're doing Ahsoka season 2. They're doing Starfighter.
They're doing Maul.
They're doing a Darth Maul series.
I just said that.
Sorry,
Maul,
I was
Shadow
thinking about
Lord.
all the other.
And I said it before, the return of Sam Witwer. Animated, Maul, Shadow Lord, covering his time in the Syndicate. I said it 10 minutes ago.
Sorry. I was busy trying to bring up the poster. So I was trying to find the poster. What do you want? I can only do so many things.
Release date 2026 for this show.
Okay.
I'm not seeing. I don't remember what the date was for Ahsoka. I'm assuming it's probably also sometime next year. The next one is
come out 2023.
Yes,
23.
23. Because I saw a trailer at Fan Expo. Exclusive footage from Mandalorian and Grogu gives first glimpse of the movie. Shown only at Celebration, not released to the public. Let's see. A battle between Din Djarin and Imperials inside of an Imperial Walker, which I've seen a clip of that. It does kind of look like it's going to be one of the famous, now famous hallway scenes. Like Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, Din's got his own. Sigourney Weaver is currently an unnamed character, but I've seen part of her interview where she says she served during the rebellion, might have known Jyn Erso, so she's been around a long time as a member, I guess, of the New Republic. Jabba's son, Rota the Hutt, in apparently some form of gladiatorial thing. That is the clip I've seen. Rota the Hutt was basically the Clone Wars TV or the Clone Wars animated movies attempt at a cute Star Wars character, a baby character.
It was like a baby slug.
Yeah, and that He disappeared after that movie. But
Yeah,
coming
that
back,
movie
so now
wasn't
we'll
well
see what's going on.
received.
No, it was not. It would have been fine if it had just been released as episodes, but
Oh, I tried
somehow they
watching
got
it.
Sam Jackson and Christopher Lee back to do voices, but it is
Yeah,
what it is.
I
Anyway,
tried
he's back.
watching it and I fell asleep.
Apparently, there's the return of the Razor Crest. Din Djarin and Zeb Orrelios are in this movie, and Grogu's using the Force. These are all notes from this. Star Wars Underworld reveals Asajj Ventress. That's going to drop on Star Wars Day. I'm looking forward to it.
Wait, is
Okay.
Underworld going to be animated?
Yeah, it's Tales of the Underworld, like Tales of the Empire,
Oh,
Tales of
okay,
the
okay,
Jedi.
okay.
It's the latest Tales series.
Yeah, I got you. You're right. You're right. Same
We
structure.
talked about it a couple of weeks ago. It's her and Cad Bane. They apparently screened an entire episode called "A Way Forward." Which,
I forgot that they showed a couple preview shots of that.
Apparently, this is also going to take some things from the Dark Disciple novel that had Quinlan Voss and Ventress teaming up at the very end of the Clone Wars to try to assassinate Count Dooku. And she dies in that novel, but of course, nothing that's now no longer canon because we've seen her since, particularly in Bad Batch, and now she's getting her own little spin-off here. So maybe we'll see what happens. Maybe they're mixing some things up. There's thoughts that maybe Quinlan Voss might appear in this. So I guess we'll see.
Jesus, Andor season 2 is coming out in 2 days. One day.
Yes,
it's coming out tomorrow.
And they're dropping 3 episodes.
That's the movie. That's the first movie. They have 4 movies basically of Andor.
So we're gonna have to we'll have to review that next week because
we're not gonna be able to do it on Wednesday.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll dive into that next week. All right. So this is Star Wars Vision Season 3 is dropping. Apparently, there's some characters reintroduced.
October 29th.
Yeah. So that's awesome for people who enjoy it. There's also a brand new non-canon Star Wars show, a spin-off of the Star Wars Vision called Visions Presents the Ninth Jedi. Will be released in 2026. We'll explore the Sith Wars. Like Visions, the show will be non-canon. The Ninth Jedi will see the Sith attempt to prevent the return of the Jedi Order. I wonder when it takes place. And at some point, here you go. Here's a good one. Ashley Eckstein is returning as Ahsoka Tano. Eckstein will voice Ahsoka in Lego Star Wars Rebuilding the Galaxy Pieces of the Past.
And I saw great. That.
You know what? That's awesome.
Yeah.
She'll come back and so
she's a great spirit. You can tell. Yeah. You can just tell.
And the fans love her. And Ahmed Best will come back as Jar Jar Binks, and it's also a non-canon thing. Star Wars Celebration 2027 will be held in LA.
Yeah.
April 1 through 4 in 2027. So
I'm not
you're bored, dude.
I'm not going. The smell that would come from that place.
It will align with the 50th anniversary of the franchise.
All right, if it's work related, I'll probably try. I'll see what I can do.
Exclusive Clone Wars footage revealed Anakin Skywalker versus Boba Fett. Unused Star Wars The Clone Wars footage revealed epic fight. Among exclusive footage shown during Celebration was a scene never appeared in Star Wars Clone Wars in which Boba Fett and Jedi Anakin Skywalker battle each other. It includes Anakin pursuing Boba on a speeder to have a physical fight, and then them using their weapons and Boba escaping. Anakin reporting to Mace Windu that he was unable to capture this kid. Star Wars is coming back. I'm reading Screen Rant's report.
Okay, well, that's, I mean, meh.
Look, if that scene makes it to the internet, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of things that were supposed to happen in the back half of season 6 that got canned, that had been partially animated, including the Bad Batch, which they cobbled together, redid, and put into season 7, and then sent out its own spinoff. Apparently, Star Wars is going back to Fortnite, including a Darth Jar Jar. So for everybody who wants that, there you go. There's a new, looks like some new comic books are out. Star Wars Outlaws video game. Hasbro announces new addition to the Black Series and Vintage Collection figure lines. And apparently there's Cal Kestis with a mullet and a Fu Manchu mustache. A big ass handlebar mustache. I didn't realize
What is this?
These are this is vintage figure lines, the Black Series.
Well, Cal Kestis did grow a beard. I had the option to shave it in the second Jedi Survivor.
All right. You know what? You
yeah.
got to see this, because this is like hillbilly
Share
Cal
it.
Kestis.
Share it. Throw it up. Let me take a look.
This was, I mean, can you see it? Can you see it?
I'm looking for it right now. There. Okay. It just dropped in the lobby. Hold on. What is this?
Apparently, this is Star Wars if it was filmed in Kentucky.
Oh my Lord. What is that? That is not.
You know what? Take the robot off, put a
man.
glove on him, give him a baseball cap, and it'll look like a great middle reliever.
He's straight out of Over the Top with Sylvester Stallone.
Oh yeah. Star Wars coming to Monopoly Go. Lego unveiled the new K2SO building set. Great. I'm going to zip back up for a couple of pictures here of some really cool ones. Here's your Darth Jar Jar in Fortnite.
Nice.
Yeah, Clone Wars. That's from the Clone Wars movie, I think. Star Wars Celebration. There's Ahsoka from Clone Wars Season 7. Ninth Jedi. More Visions. Saj Ventress, Star Wars Tales of the Underworld. Mandalorian Grogu. Look at this. Isn't that nice? That's a nice title card. Yeah. Looks good. More mall. Let's go to the mall.
Half a mall. Let's be clear.
Well, there's Hayden. There you go. It was really cool to see him in that, wasn't it? In Ahsoka season 1.
I like that. Yeah. You know, when they were showing that scene, all I could think of was the padding right around the neckline
Mm-hmm.
for that thing. So why can't we see each other? And yeah.
Ta-da!
There we are. So
clearly there was a lot to unpack. Both Tamara Morrison and Daniel Logan came out to do a panel, and they came out doing the haka and performing. And that was pretty cool. I guess he kind of hinted that Boba Fett will be returning. People think he might be showing up in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie.
He's gonna have to.
Which would be a good place for him. I think it would be a good place for him, supporting Mando and his quest
ventures.
Yep.
Yeah, his he'll be part of one of the side quests before they go for the main quest. So, which is how it works in the games. So,
yeah, well, I mean, it'll be cool. I'm looking forward to it. And of course, you got Sigourney Weaver. You have Pedro Pascal coming out in like culottes, and whatnot. And Favreau's coming out with the Grogu puppet, and it's waving and it's cooing, and Sigourney Weaver's there, and it's just like people were like, "What is she just trying to make her sci-fi bingo card?" I don't care. It's Sigourney Weaver.
Well,
Okay?
I mean,
she's a hell of
she
an
was
actress.
Marvel, Aliens, Avatar,
Yeah.
Ghostbusters.
Uh-huh.
She hasn't been in Star Trek.
Yet. She was in Galaxy Quest.
For the love of God. Yeah, well, actually, she was in the best Star Trek movie, so never mind. Done. She doesn't need to be in Star Trek. She already was. Every Star Trek
She would have
their
made
salt
either a
considered
great
Galaxy
starship
Quest
captain,
Star Trek.
or she would have been a great admiral. Not a bad admiral, a good one.
Admiral. I would have gone for a good admiral. Yeah.
She would have been a
absolutely.
great bad admiral too, though.
Oh, yes, most definitely. Like an Admiral Nechayev kind of thing, you know? Just
It wasn't a bad admiral.
Being a real hard ass. She wasn't a bad admiral. She was a hard ass admiral.
Yep.
So, that being said,
you know, man,
we're coming up on our time. Anything else you want to discuss?
I'm good. Honestly, I think we're good. I'm looking forward to a few of these projects. I am ambivalent on a few others, but we'll see. I mean, if nothing else, it was a big news day for it. We've had enough bad news days, so why not?
Mm-hmm.
I will say around here, things were pretty wild this weekend with the marathon. Did you see you saw some of the clips I sent you of the 250th at Lexington and Concord?
Yeah, that was pretty wild.
Yeah. So
I was very jealous not being there.
I didn't go. It was the Paul Revere ride started from the Paul Revere house in Boston, and he started galloping out. And they had people escorting him out, and there was people lining the street chanting "Paul, Paul, Paul." And the other two riders, Dawes and Prescott, were also riding. And then they had Paul Revere riding at the end of the at the finish line of the marathon, yelling, "The runners are coming! The runners are coming today!
The runners are coming!" Nice. Good old American history. That is really New England history, to be honest with you.
Dude, they did a fantastic job. I was actually out to dinner with out to lunch with Mrs. Kaufman on Saturday, and they were showing not only parts of the reenactment, but the Army drill team was there doing doing the drill and ceremony rifle drills. There was hundreds of thousands of spectators along the Battle Road in Concord and at Lexington Green, and it was just mobbed in Boston and Massachusetts all weekend for the holiday, for Patriots Day, the marathon, Easter, school vacation, the 250th. It was crazy. In fact, there was videos being done by the reenactors in period costume saying, you can take the train to Lexington and Concord, or you can ride your bike, but there's no parking. Yeah. So don't drive here. And they were right.
Yeah. That's the key. At least they were courteous enough to post that. So
there was dudes riding bicycles with bike helmets on and tri-corner hats on the helmets.
Oh my God. You'll never underestimate the ingenuity of a New Englander.
I know.
So
anyway,
well, on that note,
happy Patriots Day to all. I hope you all had a nice Easter. And take us out, my friend.
Well, on that note, everybody, you guys keep dreaming. We'll keep working. We are those Sci-Fi guys. I am P.S. McKay, and until the next time, it's out there. DT, you gonna take us out? I don't know.
And I'm DT Cavman, and apparently, I'm DT Cavman, and apparently up here on the high ground, I'm out there.
All right. Those Sci-Fi Guys is an independent broadcast by Alpha Site Productions, produced by DT Kaufman and P.S. McKay. Silverman Sound Studios' Fiddle DD is under Creative Commons license. For more information on upcoming episodes, follow P.S. McKay on X at P.S. McKay or go to thosesci-fi.com for past episode information. You can find us now on Spotify, so head on over there for our latest episodes. But don't worry, you can still find us on Apple. We're also on Rumble and still find us on YouTube with the video podcasts and Facebook. Be sure to leave a like and a comment just to let us know how we're doing.